On the 5th of November 2025, two new images of the interstellar object 3I Atlas were released by the Virtual Telescope project. And what these images revealed left the scientific community even more perplexed. The photographs show Atlas as a compact source of light, without any sign of a visible cometary tail. Even more surprising, the object's appearance remains virtually unchanged since the Hubble Space Telescope observations in July 2025. As Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb calculated, for an object that should have lost at least 13% of its total mass, more than 5.5 billion tons of material, this absence of a massive and bright coma is simply inexplicable. To put this in perspective, the same images also captured Comet Lemon, a common comet from our solar system. Lemon displays exactly what we would expect: a clear and bright tail pointing away from the sun, formed by solar radiation pressure pushing gases and dust into space. Atlas, on the other hand, remains mysteriously clean without the visual signature that should accompany the massive material loss necessary to explain its non-gravitational acceleration. According to Loeb, this is just the latest evidence that Atlas is not behaving like any natural object we know. And this leads us to a fundamental question that science needs to seriously address. There has been a lot of misinformation and alarmism about Atlas and its acceleration. On October 29th, right at its closest point to the Sun, Atlas began accelerating in ways that gravity alone cannot explain. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory presented a report showing that Atlas is 4 arcseconds away from where it should be based on gravitational calculations. This may not seem like much, but when you're tracking something 203 million kilometers from the Sun, this deviation is enormous. The object is accelerating at about 0.02 meter per square second. To put this in perspective, over just 1 month, this small acceleration pushed Atlas out of its expected path by about 80,000 kilometers. The acceleration has two components. It's pushing away from the Sun at 135 kilometers per day squared, which results in about 60,000 kilometers per month, and it's also moving laterally at 60 kilometers per day squared, which is another 27,000 kilometers laterally. This object isn't just drifting in one direction, it's being pushed outward and laterally at the same time. Before anyone panics, this acceleration isn't sending Atlas toward Earth. The deviation isn't enough to change its path toward any planet in our solar system except Jupiter, where it's expected to arrive in March 2026. Non-gravitational acceleration means something beyond gravity is influencing its movement. For a comet, the natural explanation is outgassing. When ice heats up near the Sun, it turns into gas and fires like a rocket engine. This is totally normal for comets. The problem is the amount of gas that would need to be coming out of Atlas to create this acceleration. And this is where things get really interesting. Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb did the calculations using basic physics. If you know the acceleration and the object's mass, you can calculate how much gas needs to be ejected to create that push. Atlas weighs at least 33 billion tons. It's huge compared to the first two interstellar objects we found, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,000,000 times more massive than Oumuamua or Borisov. Its core is estimated at about 3.5 miles, or nearly 6 kilometers. With that mass and that acceleration, the calculations show something remarkable. To create that push through natural outgassing, Atlas would need to lose at least 1/6 of its total mass during the month around its closest approach to the Sun, at least 5.5 billion tons of gas. That amount of gas would create a massive and incredibly bright cloud around the object, impossible not to see with our telescopes. Between late November 2025 and late January 2026, dozens of ground-based telescopes, including the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope, will all be observing Atlas. On December 19th, it will make its closest approach to Earth at 167 million miles. If that massive gas cloud is there, we'll see it. But what if it's not? This is where the scientific discussion gets really compelling. If we don't see that massive gas cloud, then the natural explanation fails. If there's no cloud corresponding to the amount of gas needed to create this acceleration, then we must seriously consider that the acceleration is coming from something else, something technological. We've seen this pattern before with Oumuamua, the first interstellar object, which also showed non-gravitational acceleration, but no gas or dust coming out of it. Even the super-sensitive Spitzer Space Telescope couldn't detect any outgassing. Scientists ended up calling it a dark comet, which is basically an oxymoron. The defining characteristic of a comet is its tail of gas and dust. But Atlas is showing something even stranger than Oumuamua. It's showing two additional strange behaviors that make the natural explanation even harder to accept. First, there's the brightness issue. As Atlas approached the Sun, its brightness increased following a power law with an exponent of 7.5. Normal comets get brighter following a power of 2 to 3. Atlas is getting bright much faster than any normal comet, more than double the expected rate. This is unprecedented. Second, Atlas is blue, bluer than the Sun itself at its closest approach. This is extremely strange because dust naturally makes things appear redder, not bluer. Atlas's surface should be about 20 times colder than the Sun's surface, and cold surfaces glow red, not blue. Natural explanations might involve ionized gases like carbon dioxide emitting light directly, but even this seems unlikely. Scientists aren't declaring that Atlas is definitely alien technology. The argument is about methodology. When data doesn't fit theories, scientists can't just dismiss the data. They must explore all possible explanations, even uncomfortable ones. Some scientists suggested the data must be wrong because they couldn't explain it. But as Dr. Avi Loeb stated, that's terrible science. You can't say the data is wrong just because you lack a fitting theory. Atlas is a singular object in our solar system, highlighting not just the facts but their implications, challenging current understanding. Unlike anything we've ever seen, it presents various anomalies. Among them, the first anomaly is the impossible path. Atlas is traveling a line just 5 degrees from the plane where all planets orbit our star, the ecliptic plane. An object from another stellar system should arrive from any random direction, but Atlas arrived almost perfectly aligned with this plane. The probability of this happening by chance is only 0.2%. The second anomaly is the jet that defies physics. During July and August 2025, Atlas created a jet of material directed straight toward the Sun. All known comets do the opposite, always creating tails that point away from the Sun. Atlas broke this fundamental rule. The third anomaly, too big and too fast. Atlas is 1,000,000 times more massive than Oumuamua and 1,000 times larger than Borisov, but still moves faster than similar objects. The fourth anomaly, timing too perfect. Atlas arrived with precise timing to pass close to Mars, Venus and Jupiter, yet remained invisible from Earth during perihelion. The odds of this temporal precision are extremely rare. The fifth anomaly, factory composition. Spectral analysis revealed Atlas contains much more nickel than iron, a ratio typical of metallic alloys produced industrially on Earth. Natural comets should have random metal mixtures, but Atlas appears to have a specific composition as if carefully engineered. The sixth anomaly, dry as a desert. Comets are usually 80–90% water ice, but Atlas has only 4% water, making it drier than many Earth deserts. The seventh anomaly, impossible polarized light. Atlas showed a polarization pattern never seen in any natural object, like a fingerprint that doesn't exist in nature. The eighth anomaly, connection to the 1977 mystery. Atlas arrived from the same direction as the famous WOW signal, the most mysterious radio signal ever detected, which many consider possible evidence of extraterrestrial communication. The directional precision is striking. The ninth anomaly, hotter than our star. Atlas appears bluer than the Sun, suggesting an internal energy source hotter than 5,800 degrees Kelvin, like finding a candle that burns brighter than a bonfire. This could indicate technology capable of generating temperatures superior to the Sun, something far beyond our capabilities.